Today we're headed to Alaska on board the Discovery Princess round trip from Seattle, Washington, and we're taking you with us. In Episode 1, we'll make our way from Texas to Seattle, go through the embarkation process, get on board the Discovery Princess at the Port of Seattle, and sail away toward Ketchikan, our first port of call. But before we can do anything else, we have to get to Seattle. Our early morning flight on Alaska Airlines will take us from Austin, Texas to Seattle, Washington in a little over 4 hours. The flight over the plains of West Texas was a little bumpy at first, but after a cup of coffee it smoothed out, breakfast was served, and the flight over the rest of the Texas Panhandle was much smoother. The Rocky Mountains were beautiful on a morning when they had recently seen their first snowfall. Here we get a great view of Pikes Peak and the surrounding Front Range. And then as the flight continued, we were treated to more great views as we flew over the 14,000-foot peaks of the Continental Divide and eventually into the northwest corner of Utah, southwestern Wyoming, and Idaho. These are some great views of the red canyons of the Flaming Gorge National Recreation Area, located in northwestern Utah and southeastern Wyoming. Soon after entering Washington, we begin our approach into Seattle, with some nice views of the city and the Port of Seattle. We flew Alaska Airlines from Austin to Seattle, and were able to secure first-class seats round trip for a very reasonable rate of a little over $700 by watching Google Flights, being flexible about flight times, and buying tickets 6 months in advance. Alaska is the dominant airline out of Seattle-Tacoma Airport, and offers the best deals in general. Since our flight was long, we flew into Seattle on Saturday, the day before embarking on our cruise, and flying the day before allowed us for any potential airport or airline delays. In addition, it allowed us to be flexible with times for the best ticket prices. We booked a hotel that was about 30 minutes from the airport, so we took an Uber to the hotel, allowing us to see some of the sights of Seattle and the downtown skyline along the way. Near our hotel is an excellent Indian and Mediterranean food restaurant called the Saffron Grill, where we had dinner before turning in for the night in anticipation of heading to the Port of Seattle the next morning. We were able to have breakfast at the hotel the next morning before checking out around 10:30 and heading to the Smith Cove Cruise Terminal at Pier 91 to board the Discovery Princess for our cruise to Alaska. The 20-minute drive to the port afforded many great views of Seattle and the port itself, but the highlight was the first view of the Discovery Princess itself and the sheer size of this 1,100-foot ship. The embarkation process at the terminal is straightforward, but takes a little time. There are multiple traffic lanes for drop-off by ride shares, taxis, and shuttles, servicing multiple cruise lines. Today, a Holland America cruise was departing along with our Princess cruise. Porters with carts for each cruise line are available to take bags that you aren't carrying on, and you will be directed to a line depending on whether you already have completed travel documentation or not. After passing through security similar to airports, you will be directed to boarding lanes and soon headed up the ramp and onto the ship. Entry onto the Discovery Princess is at the upper level of the piazza and is an impressive first view inside the ship, with the piazza's 3 levels, glass elevators, and sweeping staircases. Our cabins were ready by 1, and since sail away was not until 4, we completed watching our safety video, checked into our muster station, put our things in the cabin, and headed up to the pool deck on deck 16 for drinks, a quick bite to eat, and views of the port and Seattle. In addition, we experienced the glass walkways on deck 16 that allow you to look down 16 decks to the ocean below. Deck 16 was also a good place to view the departure of the Holland America ship that shared our embarkation terminal on this day. It departed an hour before us. As 4 p.m. approached, we decided to head back to our cabin to watch our own departure from the balcony. Right on time, we were moving and were afforded some final views of the now empty terminal area and the port of Seattle. Soon we were sailing north in Puget Sound before turning westward toward the Pacific Ocean, with the Olympic Mountains in the distance as a backdrop. We had reservations at the Crown Grill, a specialty steak and seafood restaurant on board, that we had made using the Princess app before boarding, and after a quick look around our room, we were headed to Deck 7 for dinner. Entertainment was already in full swing to welcome guests aboard as we headed toward the Crown Grill to the aft of the ship on the promenade deck. From the appetizers to the main course, wine, and desserts, dinner at the Crown Grill was very good and a great way to begin our cruise. After dinner, we spent some time at the casino and decided to check out the theater where we planned to see one of the Princess production shows the following night. The next day, Monday, was a sea day, and the plan was to spend the day getting a massage at the spa and getting better acquainted with the ship and what it had to offer. Mother Nature, however, had other ideas, as the Pacific Ocean greeted us with a storm front, 50-mile-an-hour winds, and 15-foot waves starting on Sunday night and continuing until Monday afternoon. I didn't take any video during the day on Monday due to the rough seas, but by evening the ocean had settled and we headed to the theater to see rock opera. Rock opera is a high-quality production show with a talented cast, live band, colorful costumes, and excellent sound and lighting. It is definitely worth the time spent while on board the ship. Video is not allowed in the show, but still pictures are, so enjoy these scenes from the show. Tomorrow, we will arrive in Ketchikan, Alaska. In our next episode, we arrive in our first port of call. Join us for episode 2 as we explore Ketchikan, Alaska. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, would you give us a thumbs up, share it, and leave us a comment to let us know what you think? We invite you to join us on our website at findushere.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, and Patreon. Meanwhile, check out this video next for more travel fun, and don't forget to subscribe.